If you're watching this video, I think you probably want to be successful. Like, you probably want it really bad, and it probably irks you in the back of your head if you're not successful. And if you are successful, you probably want to be more successful. I don't think there's a lack of want for financial success in this world. I think there is a lack of understanding how to operate as a human being to reach a form of success. And if you follow what I'm going to do in this video, this is just how you do it, okay? So look, it's very, very simple. There's 3 reasons. There's actually 3 layers. And almost nobody has these 3 layers down. The people that do have this down are super duper successful. The people that sort of have this down are really successful. People that don't have this down are just not successful. So the first layer of this is poor time management. Now look, this is not going to be a management like how to organize your sock drawer kind of video. This is the problem. So most people, when they're trying to be successful, they have, let's just say 14 hours in a day. Actually 16. That's if you sleep a perfect 8 hours, which I don't. I usually sleep like 6 hours a night. Anyways, about 8 of these hours is going to be taken up with their job, okay? Which also resembles a butt if you look closely enough, a butt with an 8 tattoo on it. So here's the problem. People cannot use these other 8 hours to create enough success to then roll these 8 hours into this actually being their job. Let me explain this. So when you're building a business, obviously if you have more time to work on it, or if you're doing anything and you want to be successful in life, I'm just going to talk about financial success in this video, you need to put in a lot of time into it. And the problem is a lot of people don't have a lot of time, or at least they don't think they do, because they're working a job. They have to put 8 to 10 hours into something else. And so the main reason why a lot of people get hamstrung initially is because they don't know how to spend these other 8 hours. And they don't know how to sacrifice these 8 hours in order to make it so they can get to the point where their 8 hours of work per day can actually put towards something that they own or something that actually brings them any type of financial wealth. Well, the best tip I could ever give you first and foremost, find a job where you can work in the back room on your business while your boss isn't watching. That's the best tip ever. But if you can't do that, you need to ensure that the time that you have outside of work has absolutely no distractions. You have to have excellent time management. And what time management really is not planning out your day. It's removing all the stupid stuff that distracts you. So here's some good tips that have made me much more successful. Just move. just move. If you move to a place where you have no friends, no family, no distractions, all you're going to have during this 8 hours is to work on something. Next, get rid of social media, television, and hobbies. You can have them back in the future. However, during this time period right here, what these things are going to do is it's going to drag you away and pull you into things that don't allow you to move this 8 hours into this 8 hours. You basically need to make it so when you get off work, you have absolutely nothing to do except work in a business. You have no TV, you have no friends, you have no hobbies. Is this the definition of a happy life? Well, is the definition of the life you have right now happy? You want to change it? Well, you're probably going to have to do something you don't want to do to get to that point. So yes, this sucks. There's going to have to be a little bit of suck. So this is the first layer of why I don't think most people ever reach any success, is because they get off work and they have like their girlfriend screaming at them. They watch a movie, they play a little bit of video games, and they just have these chunks of time super distracted. And so they don't maximize the time that they have. When I was building my first business, when I got off work, I would be working on the weekends. On it, I didn't have much of a social life. And when I got home from work, I'd usually put in about an hour and a half to 2 hours, which then brings us to the second layer. The second layer of this is very simple. Consistency. You need to be able to put in 1 to 2 hours a day, every single day, like clockwork. It doesn't take 4 to 5 hours. It doesn't take 8 hours a day. It takes a good 1 hour to 2 hours every single day of focused work, which brings us to the third layer, which is where I think everybody gets locked down. What do I mean by focused work? So when most people, they have their 8 hours a day, they have their butt crack of time, okay? And so during this time period right here, you got 2 to 4 hours a day where you can just really work on whatever you're going to do. You can learn or whatever. What happens during this time period is, let's imagine this is your time period block right here. People don't know how to sit down and do something for 2 to 4 hours. So for example, you're going to start to work on something and you're going to check social media. And then you're going to start to work on something and you're going to check your phone. And then you're going to start to work on something and then you're going to go be like, oh crap, my laundry is not done. And then you're going to go and, I don't know, eat like a pizza roll and make yourself all slow and lethargic. And so what happens that I see so many people do is when they sit down to work, they really only get about 15 minutes of work done. Here's the thing you also need to know about maximizing your time. The way that time works is it's going to take you about 15 minutes to get into a flow. And so When you're putting in about 15 minutes of work, you're not really going to start to get a lot done. Think about the last time you played a video game. Think about the last time you got really focused on something. What usually happens is that first 15 minutes is you're kind of finding your balance and your brain's getting in tune. And then at that 15 minutes, your work output skyrockets and then it stays at this level. Some people say it takes like an hour to get to this point and it grows up or like this. This is pretty much all you need to understand. And so what happens is people are constantly getting distracted, checking a social media post, checking their phone, eating a Hot Pocket. And what happens is you never get into the state of work right here. And if you don't hit the state of work and stay in it for those 2 hours, you're really not using the time efficiently. And if you're constantly going out of this, again, that's why I see you only get like 15 minutes of actual work done because you're so inefficient with this time. A really good book on this is called I don't know why I drew a B, Deep Work, okay? So DWI. And so when I said 1 to 2 hours of work, most people who work for 4 hours get about 15 minutes of work done. It's biblical. What you need to do, especially if you don't have 4 hours of time, is you need to learn how to sit down in a room and not do anything else. So how do you do this? Well, just get rid of everything in your house. For example, I live in a house without any furniture or distractions. There's nothing for me to do. There's nothing for me to do in this room that I'm in except pick my nose. And so what does this allow me to do? Well, when I sit down, that's what I'm doing. And then I make 100% sure not to be on social media because that's just going to ruin your life and your mind. If you can do this, what's going to happen is first off, 1, your time is managed. So you have a solid 1 to 4 hour chunk every single day. Key word, every single day, consistency. Then finally, during those periods, you actually get 1 to 4 hours worth of work done. And try to do it at the same exact time every single day so you have a routine. And then the final part of this is you need to put it into one thing. See, the way success works is like this. When you put all your coconuts into multiple things, you don't get results because success is an exponential line. And until you get to about 90% effort, you don't start seeing returns. Or at least you don't see the returns you should. See, you're going to see very poor returns, and then suddenly when you get to about 90%, 95% focus, that's when something explodes. Essentially what I just showed you before is how to maximize the amount of points, reward you get for your time. That's really all it is. Most people don't get rewarded for their time because they don't know how to manage it, they don't know how to consistently do it, and when they do have the time, they don't get any output from the time. It's like you have an engine where you put in a bunch of gasoline, you put in a gallon of gasoline, and you can only use 10% of it. You can never actually go very far with that engine. When you fix that though, all you need to make sure is that you stay on one road, because what most beginners do and what most people do is they don't stick to one road. And so what happens is they stick in this layer. And with that combination of poor time management, what then happens is they never ever get to this point where it goes, poof. This is why so few people are successful. It's not because they don't want it. It's not because people are stupid and only a certain smart few are able to be successful. No, that's just what arrogant idiots tell everyone. It's not. What it is people don't get to this breakthrough point right here. And the only way to get to that breakthrough point when you have limited time is to maximize that time and then put all that time into one thing. That's the only way forward. And so it's this vicious cycle that most normal people get locked into. And by normal, I don't mean like people who are not as woke as I am. That's a joke that I make at the beginning of the video. It's people that are stuck in a typical life situation, and that typical life situation moves you in a vicious cycle in the wrong way unless you really make an effort to put a block in it and start pushing it in the right way. And then what happens when you maximize your time and laser focus it is that flywheel starts to spin the opposite direction for you. And it doesn't really start spinning fast until you get to that point where you can actually quit what you're doing and focus full time on, let's say, your business or whatever you want to be successful at. Maybe you want to be a professional Smash player and make $10,000 a year working full time playing Super Smash Bros. That seems to be working for a lot of people. Anyways, until you can actually put in the 8 to 10 hours a day, you're not going to see those tremendous results. You could probably see about $5,000 to $10,000 a month in results. I'm talking like $100,000 a month, big success. And I think honestly, $8,000 to $10,000 a month would be good for most people. But once you get to this point, if you can apply what I just said right there, that's when you start seeing the, fart noise sound effects results that I'm talking about. So that's it, guys. I just think people don't understand this lesson. They don't understand how to use their time correctly. And if you can do that, you're going to be successful, even if you're an idiot. I'm an idiot. I'm pretty successful. So you can do it too. So that being said, guys, if you